There is one stock that is about to skyrocket. This is not financial advice, but this ticker, it's AU, Anglo Gold Ashanti. It's a gold stock located in South Africa. Looks ready to go up significantly. Gold has been historically a safe haven. Recently, with Nvidia beating on earnings, beating as well on revenue, and still selling off to where it was before that beat, the market is whipsawing like it hasn't in maybe since April, the tariff lows. And this Nvidia move is making a lot of big companies uninvestable. And when money can't go into the AMDs, the Palantirs, Palantir also had excellent earnings and sold off. It has to flow somewhere, and gold is one of those sectors. This company, Anglo Gold Ashanti, had $2 billion of revenues, up more than 40% year over year. And gold did have a pullback from, if you look at the futures, about 4,500 down to almost 4,000 approximately. But now it's forming a higher low, which means, yes, there was some euphoria where everyone from Barron's to every major outlet, CNBC, talked about how gold is where people are lining up, literally outside, to buy gold. What do you know? Gold dropped after that. It since has bounced, and with the market chopping around, with the biggest down day since 3 weeks ago, with the Trump-Xi rare earth sell-off on October 10th, gold is again looking like a safe haven. And this stock, ticker symbol AU, is holding up exceptionally, forming a higher low, looking like it could go up more. There is one other stock I want you to be aware of that could skyrocket. The ticker is CACI, CACI International. They are a defense stock, and defense is also a sector that is insulated in many cases from the overall market. A lot of these contracts are multi-year, and CACI, an IT company, essentially, has a contract win of almost $10 billion this year. They have a backlog of $6 billion or so, and their revenues are $2 billion. So revenue is only up 10% year over year, but right now, defense is also looking like a sector, along with healthcare and energy, although healthcare can be a little bit more nuanced and more speculative as to which stock you're going to buy in healthcare or biotech, as they result in big drops sometimes when those results are not FDA approved. And energy is another safe haven that is right up there with defense and right up there with gold. Sometimes the stocks move a little slowly, can be difficult to identify which energy stock to buy. So these two stocks seem like they have a high reward to risk opportunity, a high chance of skyrocketing. Ticker symbol AU, Anglo Gold Ashanti, and ticker symbol CACI, CACI International. So let's jump into a breakdown. This is not financial advice, but I hope it helps. And there is a $19 Black Friday discount at stockscommunity.com going on right now. This is our lowest price we've had, so it's only going to be available for a limited time. So head over there and see if that 7-day trial is for you. Now let's jump into a breakdown on these two tickers.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 So this is Anglo Gold Ashanti, and gold revenue rose 60% year over year. It's actually way more than 40% that I mentioned, to 2 billion and change. So it's significant. And sure, the earnings per share wasn't exceptional, but we don't have to look at much more than this earnings result, which tells the story. So you can see that earnings per share, that shows up here too, is about where the estimate was. As mentioned previously, though, a lot of results. Let's take a look at Palantir as an example. Here's that earnings per share, 20 cents, beat the estimate, and this company just got wrecked. So big failed breakdown on one of the strongest earnings results in the market, and this was on November 3rd. So if we look at November 3rd in the SPY, here it is, and that's sort of marked basically right near the top for all of November. So today being a very serious down day, for the reason that it looked like we were going to get that NVIDIA-led rally, NVIDIA being one of the last stocks to release earnings in Q3, and traditionally been an indicator of how the market's going to do. Now, in Q2, maybe that was a little bit of a delayed case. This is August 27th. NVIDIA released earnings right here. So sure, NVIDIA released earnings. There was a little move up, a sell-off, which this is a little bit scary going into early September. I mean, doesn't look like much, but this is down significantly from that earnings release. It's down 1.5%. But that led to a massive September rally, and people were worried that rate cuts in September would actually be baked into this price of the market, and this rally wouldn't happen. It would be a slow September, but that didn't happen. September was a roaring September, and since then we've really chopped around. We're actually at a level only seen, or first seen, back in early to mid-September. So could this earnings reaction be similar, where sure it went down initially, but then it's a big run? Maybe, but this day alone is a 2% plus down move, which is very big for the market as a whole. So the size of this candle, given this is a gap up, we can see this more clearly. Look at this gap up. This gap up is over 1.5%, and the market still closed red. And the only time that's happened historically in the last 5 years has been right in here in 2025. And, well, maybe 5 years isn't quite enough time, but right in here in 2020 during the start of COVID. So could it result in a big run? It could, but more likely what it's indicating is a lot of volatility and some sideways movement. So we'll see what happens, but that's the 10,000 foot view. And that's the reason gold is starting to look like a safe haven. So if we pull up gold futures here, this is that move up near 4,500. And it had a little bit of a fake out, but caught some shorts and then sold off significantly near 4,000. Since then, it formed a slightly higher low, moved up, sold off, and now it's forming another higher low. So it looks great surfing on this moving average, which is something that investors use. And AU looks even better. You have the additional benefit in AU of this left side peak around $80. So if this can get up above there, that's a great spot to look for some buying activity, as the people who own it here, if they haven't sold just now, they're going to be making money as soon as it's above that level. Again, this earning is solid, but that's basically the story of the chart for AU. So we'll see what happens, but Q3 was solid. and gold as a whole seems like a good safe haven. This is the company. They operate out of South Africa, Johannesburg. They're in all of these countries in Africa as well as Australia. So these are very different companies. I think gold is probably the safest place to be. I think everyone thinks that. I know that people don't want to be in Bitcoin right now unless they're very interested in Bitcoin to a maximum extent. But if you look at Bitcoin right now, you'd have to be a sincere risk taker to think it's a good idea to buy. After that liquidation day, which was right here, the price of Bitcoin never got above that down day. So, people got liquidated. And since then, it just hasn't been able to get bid on. So Bitcoin down is the leader, of course, Ethereum following in its footsteps. But during that time, since 1010, this is 1010, let's see, right here, gold going up when the market goes down. Makes a lot of sense. Of course, it did have a sell-off. It had been going up a lot since this flag where it was basing for so long. But now it looks like it's found this level, which is right near this level it was at on 1010. 1010 is a really important day. It's the biggest down day we've had in 6 to 9 months. So we're above that level, forming a higher low. And as the market is returning to that level, right now we appear to be selling off even, well, I guess the end of the day sold off. We're not too bad. I shouldn't be alarmist. AU, sure, the selling brought AU down a little bit, but it brought it down to a favorable level, which is why I'm mentioning this. So it has a higher low here. It has this left side peak. And you can't really buy it on the third green day, but now that it's pulled back, it's offering a buying opportunity. So that's AU. CACI is also on the menu. This is a very nice flag forming, a solid earnings result. And this stock has been forming higher lows. It looks sensational over the past 6 months or so, actually bottoming well before the tariff bottom. So not completely following the market, which makes sense given it's a liquid company compared to a lot of other companies. Trades 200,000 shares a day. Of course, it's a $500 stock, so it's actually $500 million a day. Well, that's not right. $100 million a day. So you can put 1 million in with the click of a button and not move the stock at all. So that's what it looks like. And you can see it had this little breakout. So if the market hadn't pulled back today, it probably would have hung up here and been a very difficult buy. But because the market did pull back, it's coming back to this level where you can buy with maybe $10 of risk and look for $50 of upside. So that's the technical setup on CACI. What they do is IT for defense, and they've got significant government contracts. They won almost 10 billion in contract awards this year, and they have a serious backlog, 30 billion. I think I mentioned a smaller backlog. This is their backlog that they're very likely to get, 4 billion. So this is probably a backlog that includes contracts that have terms like up to or non-binding terms. And these are big contracts that they've already announced. So they have contracts in intelligence. They have contracts in defense, warfare, and cyber as well. So they're in all of these. They're also in space as well. So they're in all of the big departments. And it's great because the government is good for their money, right? Not only can the contracts be multi-year, but they lock them in. So there may be some risks, but this is a kind of risk that is not as bad as a lot of other risks that might be had in biotech or medical devices companies. So the fact that they're locked into the government, they've got billions in backlog that they're likely to collect, and tens of billions that they're likely have locked in. This company looks like it's in a favorable spot. $10 billion market cap, and defense is a good place to be when it's a time where the market is sort of chopping around. So significant institution ownership as well makes this intriguing. So those are the two ideas. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. If you want a free course on how to buy stocks before they go up, hit that subscribe. And if you want to take advantage of our $19 lowest price ever so far Black Friday deal, head over to stockscommunity.com. You can try that out for just $19 for 7 days. You'll see testimonials there. And as always, this is not financial advice, but I hope it helps.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.